call this meeting to order.
Excuse me, the public still doesn't have copies that's in front of you. To start a meeting without getting copies is violation of OMA, Open Meetings Act.
They're all right there.
You know, you have the agenda, and we're getting the copies ready.
Any copies that's before the commission should be available to the public before you start the meeting. It's a violation of OMA.
I believe there, aren't they there?
I haven't been getting it, they've been blocking me so far. I'm just patiently waiting here, and I want you just to know that, okay? That I still don't have those copies.
Okay, I'd like to welcome new members. Jim Stevens. Okay, the meeting is beginning at 9:20. And Barbara Wallace, welcome, welcome. Would you like to do the roll call?
Yes, please. Bonnie Lynn Babb.
Absent?
Joyce Anderson.
Here.
Vicki Cantrell. Here. Sue Kenny. Gwen Matthew.
Here.
Jim Stevens.
Here?
Petey. Here. Strang. Barbara Waltz. Here. Also in attendance, we have Amanda Moser and Barbara Jones and Pat Oldenburg. Pat Oldenburg is our elections coordinator. She helps with the recruiting of our 600+ election workers.
And we also have Karen Betts, who is, what is your title, Karen?
I'm in the mayor's office with the boards and commissions.
She has, helps with the appointing of our members.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for serving. It's a big responsibility, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any old business? None that I know of. And new business, we need to approve the minutes of these meetings that we've held, get everything up and up. So how do we go about that, Amanda?
I'll just need a motion and a second and then a vote on all the minutes. So if you want to take a moment to review them, we as the clerk's office prepares action minutes, so it just reflects the action that was taken. If you ever want a more comprehensive review of the minutes, all of the recordings are available on our municipal website. So we always invite you to go back and actually just listen to the meeting again.
How long are they kept on the website?
They are kept on the website indefinitely,
Okay.
so.
Okay, so the 11th, that's the one where we made decisions about our, okay, wow, that's
Pretty comprehensive.
I'd like to move that we approve the first one and get that out of the way, January 30th of 13.
yeah, should we take them one at a time, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Chair, isn't it appropriate for someone who was at the meeting to make the motion to approve the minutes versus someone who was not at the meeting?
It doesn't matter. That's
Doesn't
not
matter?
a violation of Robert's rules.
Okay, just checking.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. Okay, just April 11th is the next one.
Would somebody make a motion so I can discuss it?
I move,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Vicki. That's fine.
We approve the minutes for December 5th, 2013.
No, we're on
April
April 11th,
April 11th.
2013.
Yeah, the double page one. The one that has a staple in it. It has all those ones. No, it's probably
You
back
need- do I hear a
where it's where
second?
we did all of it.
I'll second it.
This one here.
Okay, was there some discussion?
Yeah, on the first page, the rejection of the ballots, the first ones on there and maybe some other ones, there's no rationale for the rejection. The other ones have a rationale, and I was just curious about that. It would seem like that would be the bonuses of DiMartino and Holmeyer and Wells. Those are all just rejected and no reason given.
No
I'm just
code.
curious, as a new member, I just, I know before we always had the information before us. You may not be able to retrieve that information, but maybe for the record, it would be
We
good to
can-
have that.
We can attach, we used a spreadsheet that had the voters that were rejected and the reason, and we can attach that to the minutes if there's a motion to incorporate that information. Be happy to do that.
So moved.
Second that.
So then we can vote on it now to approve?
Yeah, so first we'll vote on the incorporating that document, and then we can vote on approving.
All in favor of incorporating the document, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now you're back to the main motion.
Yep, okay. Do I hear, okay. All in favor of approving these minutes with the
As-
document
As amended?
as amended,
That's for
Yeah.
April 11th.
April 11th? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're on meeting of April 15th.
I move we accept or approve these.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Madam Chair, I think we should do exactly what we did with the first one. We should attach the canvas report to this as well. So I make a motion to attach the canvas report to the April 15th minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
So we are going to vote on the inclusion of the canvas report, attach that to this document. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. As the amended with the report attached, those voting to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. April 30th meeting.
I move we accept the minutes of the meeting of April 30th.
Do I hear a second?
Here we're getting kind of repetitive, but it would be nice to have maybe this resolution that we were talking about.
Right, the amendment, don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
So
Well,
moved.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know if we had a second to the first
Mhm, we
motion.
did.
Okay, sorry.
Do I hear a
I
second? to
second the motion for the amendment to include the amendment to the resolution.
Okay, we're going to, any discussion? Okay, we will vote on the, what do we call that?
Amended,
Amended version of the meetings? that
Madam Chair, I do have a
includes-
question before we vote.
Okay,
Are we including, I'm a little confused, under number 4 then, are we including, it says to add proposed language, are we including something that has that proposed language, or what did we just do?
yeah, Amanda, is that,
It's my understanding that you're including the resolution, and the resolution in this meeting was voted on to add the language. So you would get the complete resolution as voted on in that meeting.
But we don't know what the proposed language to add to the resolution was, am I
you can
correct?
separate that out?
That was
Pardon?
the proposed language that you added at that meeting. So it would be that document as amended.
Okay.
The resolution would explain it to it.
so
Okay.
we'd have the resolution with the amendment to it, the whole thing.
Well, the amendment has been incorporated into that resolution, so it would be
Okay.
that resolution as amended.
Okay, all right.
Okay, those in favor of adding that resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. With the, did you have something to say?
No.
Okay. To vote on approving these minutes with the resolution attached, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, December 5th.
Just kind of another picky, we like picky ones once in a while. You know, it says that I move to adjourn the election commission now. When I read that, I think, oh my God, we're out, we're out of business. It should be the meeting of the election commission, right?
It says that on the back.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I see it. Thank you.
Where is that?
That's the bottom of the page. It says adjournment, Vicki moved. to adjourn
Would
the
you like
election.
to make an amendment to these minutes?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion for that?
Well, since I start, I move it.
What's the,
I second it. I can second, can I?
okay, discussion, what's the amendment?
Well, would you like to have it to adjourn the meeting of the election commission?
The last sentence.
Yes, I would like.
Actually, on the top of the next page, the amendment needs to be to change December 12th to December 5th.
Oh,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is.
Good catch.
Right on the top of the page. It's it.
They just bumped over to the other page, so we'll just, if there's a motion and a second for that amendment.
A
So
motion to
moved.
make it.
And a second.
Second.
Okay, we are voting to amend these minutes, correct? All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we vote to approve the meeting.
I'm
minutes.
sorry, I need a motion and a second on the approval of those minutes.
Right.
Oh, yes. So, we need
Didn't we have
to
them already?
approve these.
As amended.
Which ones are we
Oh,
speaking
okay.
On
of?
December 5th,
Okay,
there is a motion to amend, but not a motion to approve.
I so move.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, we're voting on the amended minutes of the meeting. All in favor of them, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're now on the December 12th meeting.
I move we accept the minutes of the meeting of December 12th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We're going to vote on the adoption of these minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last meeting, January 13th.
I move the minutes of January 13th be approved.
Second?
Do we need to have this one attached?
That's a public document that is available,
So
so
it's
it
for
probably
sure
doesn't
right now.
need to be
Okay,
attached to the
great.
minutes.
In audience participation.
Then moved and seconded, is that right? All those who vote to.
I'm sorry, who was the second on that?
I don't think there's anything against it.
Second.
I moved, just Vicky.
Yeah. Did you second?
I will.
I heard a second.
I thought you
I
did.
did, I will.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting these minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
This is Ms. With all due respect, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank the deputy clerk for getting these done. But these are helpful if we get them, you know, we have all this stuff about Title 28, and I was trying to remember when we did what, why, you know. So these would really be helpful in that situation. Hopefully we won't have it.
Barbara.
I would like to let you know at the, when we prepared our 2014 budget, one of the things that I proposed was an additional clerical person in the clerk's office. And one of that person's duties will be taking care of our boards and commissions. So you may have noticed that Lisa came down and set up the tape recording, and typically the staff does the copying and things like that. And so in the future, we'll be able to have that new person. Lisa's our records coordinator, and she does a great job. And obviously, you know that Amanda is doing Yale Woman's work here. But in the next year, I anticipate that we'll have a new clerical person in the office that'll take this over and keep us organized on a more timely basis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to turn the meeting over to Amanda to elect our chair and vice chair.
All right, so I have created ballots, and I will entertain a motion to nominate a chair and a second.
I nominate Gwen Matthew to be chair.
I second that.
Is there any additional nominations? Can we take a 5-minute Eddie's?
Sure. We can. And I guess we could nominate our gentleman, but then we don't want to defer to the men.
I can't hear her.
I just,
Can I ask?
I would, but I
I
can't
was
chair, so that's.
an alternate.
You could be vice
And
chair.
they kept saying, we're going to do it, but then they.
When do you write it?
She does. I still.
But,
Oh,
the
I
other
see.
person always did it by telephone. And I didn't know that I could have other people that
Oh, I can't.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
don't
can't remember.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Barbara, have you served before on the
I
election?
think that's right.
No, no, it's all brand new.
So which one of you is?
So you're all wonderful.
I'm not.
Maybe we need.
There is a full.
I finally made it to full.
Well, last year was my first year.
Because I was an alternate for
Last year
3
was not a
years.
fun year.
I got tired of
That was the year before.
And the year before was worse.
Yeah, last year was good.
Well, last year was not well. Good would be just.
It would help if there
Last
was
year
one of
was-
the regular
had our
members was not
difficulties
present.
with it,
but not as bad as
Make it quorum.
Oh, no, no,
With an
no,
alternate.
nothing compared to that.
Because you're supposed to be two.
As
far
as I know, I'm the only one that's the alternate.
Are you
Last year
an
turned out to
alternate?
be an alternate.
Well, she did.
Last year, and I presume that.
Oh, really?
Who is that?
I didn't like any part.
I like that. She was an alternate?
Yeah,
She wasn't before, was she?
Do that machine and.
evidently. She didn't go it.
Actually, while we
asked whether she wanted to
One day last year,
re-up this year.
Peggy called me a racehorse.
Yeah, she was an
Not Peggy, Gwen.
Would
Peggy
that
and I
be
were
in the
putting
minutes?
things through the computer, and she said, well, my
No,
two
but-
racehorses down there. So I thought, well, maybe I better just pull it.
Might not have said it.
But it
Yeah,
was, you know,
oh,
one
yeah,
of those
not ours,
people
yeah,
that I
yeah.
doesn't say so. If I can't do it fast,
Yeah,
I can do it. But as
Job to
a,
get done.
yeah, but as a result, I made mistakes.
Right.
So I do bear
Mine
one,
doesn't break.
But it says
and I don't mind being gone, because this has been a problem all my life.
Right, and I was.
So it's Sue, okay, so we're, to be honest,
realize
with
she
you,
wasn't.
I tend to do it.
I worked for a man who said, why do you always have a time, that time to do something over, but you never have time to do it right the first time? And he's got a point. He's got a point. And so I'm aware of it, but
I don't know. I
Can't
asked when I
slow-
was, you know,
can't slow the motor down.
Oh, it's just. If 2-speed, stop.
Yeah, it really is.
You know.
you have to be, because when you step in and you out.
There, wait a second, slow.
And that's probably what
There's a little bit of a,
and so I worked
for
with
me
him
anyway,
on
I just like
both
to
parts of
see.
the project. I thought it was my
Stigmata,
mind, because I just wanted to
all
check,
you-
and then I thought about that, okay, well, that's why I'm saying, you know what I mean, when I really do it this way, and I thought,
How long were you doing that?
well, I did, my first term was 3 years, so you can only do 6.
You said it's all exciting.
Yeah, did it.
Yes, Amanda. Meeting adjourned?
No,
Resumed?
not readjourned.
Resumed. Did
Is
you?
there any additional nominations for chair? Okay, then we can, there's no need to vote if there is only one nomination.
May we ask Gwen if she's agreeable, I assume.
I'll do it.
All right, nominations for vice chair.
Amanda, you should probably have an affirmation.
Oh, can I get an affirmation vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Joyce Anderson.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any additional nominations for vice chair? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And I do accept.
I forgot to ask.
Thank you.
You don't get to say.
Okay. Through the chair, may I please introduce the election binder?
Please.
Thanks. So the clerk's office has prepared an election binder for all the election commission members. As you open up the binder, you will see that there is some absentee by mail applications. The clerk's office, big push this year is to increase voter turnout. And we think one of the ways to do that is to encourage people to vote by mail. It's a really easy way, ballots mailed directly to your address. You can vote from the comfort of your own home in your pajamas if you choose. You'll have time to review all the candidates and the issues at your leisure. So we're asking the Election Commission to share these with friends and family. We've provided 10 of them in each of your binders. If you'd like additional ones, we'd be happy to produce them for you. We just think it's a really great way to engage the community in the municipal elections process and to allow our voters to have the opportunity to take the time and review the ballot and really be able to vote informed on all the issues on the ballot. There's often a lot of propositions that deal with anything from our parks to our roads to public safety, public transportation. So it really allows the voters to have the opportunity to truly review all those issues. So we'll encourage you to share those with friends and family. If you'd like more, please just let us know. We'd be happy to get those for you. First, we just have a letter from the clerk's office thanking you for your service to the Election Commission. Yes.
Pardon me, is this form online?
Yes.
All right, and I don't know if there's an educational thing, spot on TV or anything like that, but that would be a good thing to do to let people know that they could.
We have been sharing it with our social media. The clerk's office is on
Great.
Facebook and on Twitter, and we've also been sending out public service announcements. And we are working with the League of Women Voters on some
Excellent.
public
Thanks.
service information site. The next tab, we have the Election Commission contact information. Just this makes it easy for you to contact the other commissioners outside of City Hall. Just a reminder to be aware of Open Meetings Act violation to discussing business with more than 4 members of the commission, forwarding emails between all the commissions. Those can all be a violation of Open Meetings Act. And if you would like, the clerk's office would be happy to provide you with some Open Meeting Act information. You can send that out by email to everyone. Next, we have our election calendar, and we'll just spend some time going over that. We have already had gone by January 6th, which was the last day to submit the petition signatures. The clerk's office did not receive any. We had no active initiative or referendums for that, so we did not receive anything. January 14th was the last day to introduce ordinances for the April ballot, and there was 7 bonds that were on the agenda, so those will go before public testimony on the 28th. We are currently working on getting our notice of vacancy published. We are in the edit and review stage with the Anchorage Daily News, so that will go in the paper on Thursday. Friday, filing for office opens. The clerk's office has been busy preparing all the documents. Those are all available on our website. January 28th is going to be the final public hearing on the ballot propositions, so after that meeting, we'll know all the items that will be going on the ballot. And at that point, the clerk's office will begin working to update our website with all that information. We're also going to be working with the League of Women Voters again this year to create ballot review document again. February 7th, filing for office closes. At that point, the clerk's office will begin preparing the ballot. And February 11th is the last day for the candidate to withdraw. So at that point, around February 12th, we will have finalized the ballot. On February 15th, the notice of election will be published in the Anchorage Daily News, followed by March 2nd, the notice of bonded indebtedness will be published. March 2nd is also the last day to register to vote. That always falls on a Sunday with the way that the code is set up for it to be at least 30 days. There is opportunities to vote or to register online. You can also register at the library, which is open on Sunday. We get a lot of questions about that in the clerk's office on how do you handle it when it is on Sunday. We will be working diligently before that to make sure that everybody has updated their voter registration. We work through our social media to sort of continuously update the public on that information. March 12th, notice of polling places is published in the Anchorage Daily News. On March 17th, the early and absentee voting will begin here at City Hall and at the Lusac Library. And around that time, we will also begin mailing out the absentee by mail ballots. March 25th is the last day to request a ballot by mail. And March 25th is also when the Election Commission begins their ballot review. On March 31st, the day before the election, we publish the notice of election, the notice of polling places, and the bonded indebtedness in the Anchorage Daily News. And then April 1st is Election Day. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, April 11th, we have tentatively scheduled the Election Commission meeting with the public canvass. That is our goal to have it on that Friday. With the April 15th, the certification of the regular municipal election. Also in your binder, we have the AO for the Title 28. We are working to create all, oops, I'm sorry, I skipped a section. We have your Election Commission manual on the green tab, sort of the darker green tab. The next tab is Title 28 as, yes.
I'm sorry.
Of course.
On the calendar, I'm confused. On March 2nd, the Sunday, 2014, last day to register to vote, April 2nd, 2013.
Oh, we'll make that update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I thought, well, maybe they really mean that. I couldn't figure it out.
It's funny when you have, our policy in the office is to have documents reviewed by 3 people before you publish them, so it was reviewed by 3 people. But we will make that update. Thank you for catching that. Title 28, I have placed the AO in your binder as a placeholder. We are working to incorporate the amendments that were made on the floor at the assembly meeting on January 14th. And then as soon as that's updated and into our code publisher, we will provide you with a new copy of that, a more readable copy. And then in the next tab, we provide you with the Alaska State Statute Title 15, the Elections State Statute. The following tab, we provide you with Title 4, which governs boards and commissions, along with the boards and commission member responsibility sheet. It's in the plastic. And then in the orange tab, we have provided you with election ordinances that are currently before the body. We think it's important for the election commission to be aware of these things that are going on with the municipal election. This was introduced at the January 14th assembly meeting, and it's for public hearing at the January 28th assembly meeting. So the clerk's office would like to set up a time for a meeting, a training for the VREMS system. I know we did this in the past. We think it's important to go over it again every year. Pat Oldenburg, our elections coordinator, is going to lead that training once again. So if you want to take a moment to grab your calendars and we can find a time that is agreeable for everybody.
It's Bonnie Jock.
The clerk's office is conducting training for the election works March 6th through the 15th. So those are going to be really busy times in our office. It would probably work best to do it before then. March 1st through the 1st, 3rd, or 4th would probably work best for us if any of those dates are agreeable.
First
Oh, I'm sorry, 3rd or 4th. All right.
Is the week of the 18th not good for you guys? That's after.
Early voting's going downstairs.
Yeah, we could do it upstairs.
Are we doing supplies in here?
Well, so, do we start supply? We don't start that until
Yeah,
the state.
why
Pickup is 24.
We have found that it's kind of.
So this one's two.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
And also, but
Because we're gonna start on the Tuesday, the 23rd,
Yeah.
and they're doing training.
Is there conflicts with the 3rd or the 4th?
the only thing is, in the past, we have considered that it's nicer to have it closer to when we actually do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that's not critical. I
Yeah.
was just asking.
My,
Amanda, what are we looking at for an hour?
yeah,
Oh, okay, just curious.
Just a refresher. 'cause-
Right, you
Okay.
know.
and maybe a little bit more for Barbara.
Yeah.
Jim has had it before too, but,
Okay.
so, yeah, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops.
Okay.
What were the dates that you were proposing?
The 3rd or the 4th, or we could do the 17th.
I'm not available till the 20th or 21st that week.
From the last week.
I'd be available 3rd or 4th and fine, and that week is.
What about other people's?
I'm okay, the 3rd or 4th.
Barbara? 3rd or 4th
Yeah,
is good
I
for me.
prefer the 4th. of the two.
Okay.
Me too.
And the morning meetings are fine for me. Afternoons are a little tougher.
Okay. So do we want to say 9 a.m. on March 4th?
That sounds good.
You promise they'll turn the lights on?
And we will hold this in 240. We have a computer in there. And there's parking back up here, I understand. So, March 4th at 2:40 at 9 a.m.
In 240.
I'm sorry, in 2:40 at 9 a.m.
And what is what is the name of the
VREMS is the state voter registration database.
VREMS?
And this is what the election commission uses to verify voter eligibility.
Madam Chair, may I ask for a question about the MIME notices you send us? I think that's a calendaring situation.
Okay. I'll try and send it as a calendar and as a separate email. If you're not getting those as a
I
calendar.
am, I
request.
just,
Okay.
you know, I need to understand what we're going to get. Just a calendar, or we're going to get an attachment, or blah, blah, blah. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I've been
Software.
sending them as calendar requests.
Uh-huh.
Do you get that? Do you not receive them?
No, I think that's great. I
Okay.
appreciate it,
Good. I will keep doing that.
as long as I'm not missing something.
And the room number 204, you said?
240.
240.
Yep.
okay.
In the middle of the hallway, right?
No.
Oh, no,
That's our
240 is
first-
upstairs, that's conference room.
Yeah.
The next item on your agenda is tracking time. We will, once again this year, provide you with ID cards, and you'll be able to use those to punch in and punch out when you arrive. This will be new for you, Jim.
Yeah.
Instead of using the login computer system we actually worked last year to get ID cards,
Great.
there is, we can show it to you as we walk out, there is a time-keeping system in the hallway next to the televisions, and you just scan your
Yeah.
card when you arrive, and you scan your card, or like when you get to work, and then you scan your card when you're
Yeah.
done working for the day.
So no more Chronos.
Well, it is Chronos, but it's just an easier way to use Chronos
Right.
than
I mean, the
trying
computer
to.
Chronos.
Yeah, I mean, that was challenging, so we worked.
Touched a nerve there.
We all laugh.
So,
Sorry.
we found that it made it really easy on the commissioners last year to
Oh,
just
yeah.
be able to
For sure.
take an ID card and punch in and punch
Yeah.
out. So, we will provide those for you.
You just need to remember to make a conscious effort to do it.
Yeah.
And once you get the habit, it works.
We'll provide those as it gets closer to when you start working. We'll have those available for you. All right. That is everything from the clerk's office.
Member comments is next. Do we want to look, and let me ask you, do we want to look at the election commission procedure stuff, or do we want to wait till the
Well,
time?
I don't know if you want to maybe allow people to read through it, and then maybe the clerk's office is always happy to schedule meetings for you if you would like to come back and discuss anything. We're kind of providing you with a ton of information now, so you have the opportunity to review everything before the election, and let us know if there is any.
I don't know if it's, I don't think it's profitable to read it page by page the way we have done in the past, but I wanted to let the members know that I had notes from everybody from last year. I had about 7 different copies of notes, which I collated and made corrections to this. Amanda put them in our writing, but we probably should go through it on your own, is what I recommend. And if you have any notations or any changes that you recommend, and maybe we could discuss that on our REMS training day. We'll see.
Okay, so
And if
all of
you-
the discussion that we had when we did go page by page is what we
I
all agreed on has
incorporated
been incorporated in?
Into this.
Okay.
I do have one question for the clerk's office. There's one section in here when we file back things according to area-wide, district-wide, or area. Last year, we did that because of the questions that were involved in last year's election. And I put it in here doing the same procedure. Do we want to incorporate that so that that's always the way we do it?
And so that's following the code as it is written. So we will be following that procedure
Okay.
again this year.
Okay. So do you remember when we determined whether they were area-wide races or just their, and we put a colored piece of paper in and put the ones that were just, you know.
Right.
All right, articulate, yes.
Excuse me, Madam
Yes.
Chair, didn't Petey, wasn't she working on some of our revisions that we submitted?
We did. We've actually had more revisions since then. So if you could get me a copy of your revisions so I could check it. I didn't have them when I did this, but I'm pretty sure they're all incorporated.
Okay.
And if you would like, we can schedule a longer meeting on the 4th, and you can have time to review the procedures and then do the VRUMS training afterwards. So we could schedule 9 to 10 review of the manual, and then 10 to 11 you could do the VRUMS training if you would like to have that time. Or if you want to review the procedure now and contact me by email and let me know if you want to schedule a meeting, just let us know and we can.
I think it would be more advantageous to include that on the 4th.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of stuff to review.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to get your head around it again. And Barbara, don't freak out.
So we'll schedule
It
that.
makes sense after a while.
I'll trust you.
We'll schedule a 2-hour meeting then, so you'll have an hour to review and an hour for the training.
And I want to say I appreciate all your conscientious reviewing and your notes, and this has been quite a year. So,
May I ask about what rooms we will hopefully be in, or is it the same as last year?
It is my understanding that it'll be the same as last year. You'll start out in the Ombudsman's conference room, and then you'll spend the week of the 24th through the 28th in there, and then moving into the 105 after the election day.
So it's the same as last year, and may I say that we do not have enough room in the Ombudsman's conference room for the process that we have to go through.
yes, Barbara.
I just wanted to make a comment. I know there's not enough room. We all know there's not enough room, and it's really uncomfortable. And maybe we can even ask the ombudsman if we could stretch out into that little office that they've got next door, because I think that would help a little, but it's still not enough. And the bottom line is, we don't have enough space in this building to do the work that we need to do for the election. It's just really, really tough. And so we're doing everything we can, but this year will unfortunately be a repeat of last year. I think we're going to start looking at it, and so that we can think about what we need to do for next year. So if you have any suggestions, when we met with Dennis Wheeler, one of Dennis's comments was, what about the Denina? And so we need to start thinking about some alternatives, maybe outside of the box or something like that. I admit hauling crates back and forth, or however we're going to do that, making sure that we've got the right security at the Denina, or whatever the issues are, concern me, and we're not ready to do it this year. But I think we need to start talking about it. All right?
It's unfortunate that Ms. Birch is no longer here to hear this, because we had those darn racks from Costco, and we were having to go like this, and of course you can't visually see the upper rack, and it just creates a climate for making unfortunate errors, and my back was sore.
We purchased additional racks,
Oh,
so
good.
you can spread out on more racks instead of having to go higher. We purchased an
good.
additional 2 racks this December, so hopefully that will help. And if there's,
It was very nice to have the extra office. Last year we had that as well. It makes a difference, especially for our extra stuff. But another thing, Vicki, is last year we were in the process of making it work, figuring out how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, we made the little stands out of paper stuff, you know, and I think it'll be better this year. And we have kind of a system to run on, so I think we'll be okay, especially with the extra racks. And do I talk with you about a couple, you know, like the bookends that I had recommended?
Yeah, we are still looking into that. I can, I had a 3-page to-do list that is on that. So if there's other things besides that, we can talk about that. We can see if
I
there's-
recommend these, I've been thinking about these, could we reduce these to a regular size thing so we could fit them in a file? So we could fit them in a notebook?
Yeah, just let me know anything like that, and we're happy to make those adjustments.
And by the way, we need to, these are no longer appropriate for what we do, there's a couple adjustments
Yeah,
on
and
there.
if you just have those edits, I'm happy to incorporate those, or if you,
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
yes.
What is a traditional turnout for this year's type of election, based on what's going to be on the ballot? Do you have just a ballpark? I mean, is it going to be more than last year, less than last year? What is the history of elections?
It's hard to say. Last year, we had 3 candidates that were running unopposed leading into the race, and then we had the write-in candidate. And so there is sometimes a lower turnout with an unopposed assembly member. The clerk's office is pushing engagement in the municipal election. We are encouraging people to vote if there is, even if there is unopposed assembly races, there are other issues on the ballot that determine how your city looks.
And maybe you might have a better
So-
idea after filing too as
Yeah.
well. I was just curious as to, based on the offices that are up.
Quite
Yeah.
a few assembly people are.
There's
running,
one
right?
seat up from every district. So last year, there wasn't a race in the downtown area. There was the 2 races in West Anchorage. So that might have a little bit of impact because there is a downtown seat now. There's 2 school board seats. And potentially there is 8 bonds. There's 1 school bond, and then there's 7 other bonds broken up into parks, roads. There's 2 different roads, one's public safety, public transportation, and stuff like that, so.
Well, I know there are different reasons people vote. you know,
Yeah.
Whether it's an issue or whether it's for a candidate, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We are optimistic that it will be high, because we would like to see people engaged. So we are still on member comments.
Yes, any more comments, Vicki?
Oh, this is kind of off of an election issue, but how do you handle the costs of an election afterwards? You know, do you report it to the assembly still, or is that a concern of this commission? I'm not sure.
Well, the election is run by the clerk's office, and we do include the cost in our budget. I don't know if you had additional.
Nope, I think, you know, the assembly appropriates the funds in the clerk's budget, and by law, I have to stay within that budget. And we monitor it closely. Some of you probably have met and will meet again. Elizabeth Jensen, she's the assembly's and the clerk's budget program analyst, and we did a good job. We came in, you know, it's one of my goals to get as close as I can, but I always want to come in under budget because you can't be over budget because that's a violation of the code. So far, so good, but it's not an issue for the commission. And that's why if you need supplies, you need to let us know. Now, you can tell me you want a new building or a new room, and I'm going to tell you that that's not in the budget cards or other. So there, of course, there are some issues that would concern you. But, so just let us know, as far as we're concerned, if there are supplies that make your job easier, we'll purchase them. You know, we know space is an issue, we need to look into it. Even if it has a cost, we will look into it.
Madam Chair, I have another comment. I know last year we I don't know if this is our organization meeting, so I'll bring it up. Last year, we visited some polling places on Election Day.
Yes.
Is that something, I'm throwing that out for discussion, is that something the commission wants to do again? Was that helpful?
I'm sorry, the clerk is going to jump in here. I would like to ask you not to do that. I think that the issue is, it depends on what the workload is of the commission. And we anticipate that there will be a higher turnout on the by mail, and if those are here, an absentee, early absentee, we need you probably to be working on that day.
On Election Day.
Right, we probably do. It's up to you. If you choose not to, that is to some degree your choice. As the code specifies, that the clerk sets the times of the day and the days of the week that you'll be working. And I'd just like us to continue that discussion. But I would like you, I think we were all, it was painful to work until 11 o'clock at night and then be back here. You were back here again at 8 the next morning, and I would prefer not to do that. And if it means that we work from 8 to 5 on Election Day to avoid that, I would prefer to do that.
What about the possibility of visiting one precinct on the way in? The reason I say that, and I just toss this out there, on the year that we were together, the fiasco year, okay?
What year are you
The
talking
year
about?
that there was a ballot shortage,
Okay.
so that's 12, I think. We recommended that the election commission visit precincts just to get a feel for the election. If something was, going wrong or something, would you be opposed to us stopping on the way in?
Well,
Or you just-
I would like to continue to discuss it. I'm
Okay.
open to the discussion. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you, as Amanda has said over and over, 2012 was an outlier. I don't want to make a decision based on 2012.
Okay.
So let's keep talking about it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, 2013, visiting those precincts was a very positive experience. The election workers were very pleased that a commissioner took the time to come by. I particularly did a number of places in Eagle River, and they were just blown away that a commissioner would do that. So I think it was a good, positive experience for our election workers.
It's good public relations. if
Good
nothing
public
else.
relations.
Another issue I wanted to just get your feedback on, commission members. Last year, in our small room, do you remember we had little silver things that we clipped and struggled with to open and stuff like that? What I had thought of is to put like a business card with the precinct on either side and then just clip it. Wouldn't that be nice? But I wanted to get if you felt that was extraneous. To me, it seemed like a really good idea, and perhaps replacing our little blue creations, stand-up numbers, with something more permanent. Now, do you foresee in the future, like a whole lot more mail so that maybe is not a good investment now, or not? Or does that matter?
I would argue it doesn't matter. Whatever you need today, we're going to do. If we get a whole lot of more, we'll address it then. Does that sound good, Amanda?
All right, are there other comments? Any comments, any at all?
Well, I have one when you're done.
Okay.
As I've mentioned, the clerk's office is, we have some staffing issues, especially with the election. Amanda's the deputy clerk, you've seen her clerking the meetings. She has a full-time job in addition to doing the elections. So I mentioned that we're getting additional staff, and we have a new staff person that started today, and that's Bonnie Jack. She's going to be working with us on elections this year.
Very cool.
So,
Bonnie
Welcome.
Jack has worked polling places for years and has experience with both the state and the municipal elections, and we're thankful to have her experience in our office, so.
You all will appreciate when we were talking about it, Amanda and I were talking about how long have you worked? And I told her, I'm not going to say it in this meeting. And she said, Oh, no, I wasn't born. So we're going to skip over that discussion real fast. And I recognized all the little things when you were, the little silver things, the little blue, I thought, I remember those.
Yeah.
So yeah, it helps to know what you're talking about, the inside story last year.
And Barbara, you had a comment.
Well, I was just wondering, being totally new to this, am curious about what people's experience have been. I mean, how long you've been on the boards or this board, this commission, and what it sounds like Jim is very familiar with things. And so, I don't know, I'm just curious.
Yeah, that might be good. Jim served before, so he's returning. But I think everyone could go around and talk about what they were.
We each are appointed to a 3-year term with possibility of re-upping. So that's what you have the possibility of being on this commission for 6 years. That answers one question. I chose not to re-up after my first 3 years because of 2012. So anyway.
So now you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I just sat in on an assembly meeting and was approached by Ernie Hall and by Barbara asking about my interest in, if I had an interest. I was just there because I had some time on my hands, you know. And so I found out that the proposed amendments or changes to the election commission and the ethics was on the docket that evening for the first hearing, and there were no comments to it. And I thought, well, that's too bad. So that got me more interested, and I talked to Karen, who's a good friend, and got the application into her, and so I re-upped. I thought, well, it's a good time. And before, I was an alternate because I was always going down, I was a snowbird going to Florida, but I'm not doing that now.
I'm Vicki Cantrell, and I served last year. That was my first year on this commission. I worked in as a deputy clerk in the clerk's office from probably 91 through 2002. So but lots has changed since then. So.
But familiar with the jargon and everything.
I've been on the commission just like Vicki this is my 2nd year, and I decided to put my application in to be on the commission because I did work in elections in Minneapolis for 16 years. I was the director of Mid-Pub elections in Minneapolis, so I felt that I had some experience to bring to the commission, so that's why I applied.
I'm Gwen Matthew, and this is my 3rd year. But before that, I worked on several boards. I've been working with the elections probably about 10 years or so. But this is my 3rd year.
I'm Petey Strang, and I have 1 year experience. And I did work at a polling place one time. So I'm second to you in rookieism.
I'll remember that.
Okay. So now I've worked in polling places probably 4 or 5 years. And usually, the only place I've worked is out at Joy Lutheran in Eagle River. So I'm familiar with that end of it. But this is all new to me. My background is homeschool. I taught my kids. I had 3 kids that kindergarten through high school. So
I homeschooled. This is my 32nd year.
yeah. So okay.
Excellent. All righty. Is that all the member comments?
I looked up Amanda on, to kind of get a familiarity with her background as well as Barbara's. That would be nice if we had just that brief statement from each of you.
Go ahead. young one.
My name is Amanda. I have been in the clerk's office since 2010. I started as an elections assistant. It was a temporary position in the clerk's office to assist the deputy clerk with the preparation of the election. And a couple months into that, they offered me a full-time job in the clerk's office, and so I worked as the business license and minutes clerk from 2010 through August of 2012, and in August 2012, I was appointed to deputy clerk and elections. Last year was my first election that I ran. It was a huge learning experience. I'm continuing to learn, and I appreciate the support of everyone around me as I go through this process.
Good. How about you, Pat? Tell everybody about your experience.
I previously worked for the state of Alaska for elections as my full-time job. And then I retired from there. And for some reason, I can't get elections out of my system. So for every state election, I would still go back and be their recruiter. And then Amanda said, well, what are you doing when you're not working for the state? I'm not. So she said, how about you come work for us? So then I work here 6 months and there 6 months and even years, and then back here, and then I have 6 months off. So I'm kind of a 3/4 time election.
The best thing that I did last year was hire Pat Oldberg. I volunteered at the state election just to get some practical experience. And so I worked their election in 2010 and 2012, and in 2012, when they were hiring me with the state election, Pat just kept calling and saying, oh, I need this paperwork, I need this and that. And I was like, I need someone like this on my team. So I did talk to Pat about coming to work with us, and it was the best decision that our office made. So she keeps me in line.
Well, I'm Barbara Jones. I'm new to the clerk's office. I've been here 1.5 years. And I will tell you that the most successful thing I've done is put together an awesome team upstairs. And I'm sure you've met all the people in the clerk's office, but like I mentioned, Lisa. And that would be one of my fortes. I've worked as the ombudsman and also as the executive director and staff attorney for the Anchorage Equal Rights Commission. And I will be celebrating 15 years with the municipality next month. So my background is oddly in employment law. That is my background, and how I ended up here is it was a very interesting journey. But I've been a manager for the municipality now for almost 15 years, and I love being a manager and leading the team to accomplish the goals that we want. And I think Karen would agree with me that a JD is a dang good degree to be a good manager.
To be anything but one of those, yeah.
Anything but a practicing attorney, right?
Yeah.
But it sure comes in handy.
It does.
When we're
It's a
dealing
good
with
background,
code.
yeah.
Right.
All right, any more comments?
Just thank you. It was
Yeah, thank you.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Thank you. Now we have audience participation. Eugene?
First, my phone rang during the meeting. I usually have it on vibrate. I'd like to apologize for it not being on vibrate. I missed that. Generally, I don't have that scenario, and sorry for the interruption on that. The second thing is, I noticed a comment from yourself at the meeting about concern of not getting the materials before on the minutes and the information, and would appreciate it earlier so you had a chance. My simple question is that, was this the first time, again, you got this information, the minutes and the agenda at this meeting? You didn't see it before?
Not the first time, because I got an agenda, and it was the minutes were helpful in reviewing Title 28. Would have been helpful, because I couldn't remember. It jogs my memory to have a minute.
But this was the first time you saw the minutes at this meeting? At this meeting was the first time you saw the minutes at this
It's
meeting?
my-
Commissioners,
knowledge.
this is audience participation.
Excuse me,
There's no duty for you to respond.
I'm asking for just when you got the public the information to you, and and you're not the chair, and the chair has the prerogative to say if, and you're interrupting the chair's prerogative to decide if I was out of bounds or not. So, Chair, can I just simply get a question to when you got this information?
How does this apply to our meeting today?
It basically is, as you know, I'm following the public process and how meetings are conducted, and when this information is available to the public and yourself. And I'm simply asking for that question to be answered. When did you get the minutes? Was it the first time, like you answered the question at the previous meeting, on the other meeting, when did you get that information? Was this the first time you had to make it the agenda?
It's for participation, Eugene, it's not a deposition, it's not trial.
But you have a chair could answer, you know.
Jean? Thank you. We have been reading these, which is not light reading. It takes a bit of our time. I don't
So
think we
you're not
need-
going to answer the question on
I
that?
don't believe we need to pursue that avenue.
You're not going to answer the question? Okay, thank you, and that's all. And thank you for audience participation.
Thank you. You're not leaving, are you?
No.
Okay. I need to have a few words with you, too.
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion to adjourn
This meeting.
this meeting?
I so move.
The time is 10:25.
I so moved.
We'll wait till later.
So,
Is
we have a
there a
second?
Second.
Do you need to vote on that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Any objection?
any objection?
No.
Or